This is Fintech Cappuccino, your Saturday morning podcast with a pinch of espresso on the why and how of fintech. The show is hosted by Brian van Wachem, CEO of RedSnap, and I'm Connie Dorrestein, founding partner of Bankify.
Brian.
Hi, Connie, with Brian. Hey, Connie,
Brian.
Regarding the podcast, what about a guest with an investment background, an asset manager who worked all over the world? We can have the global marketing head from Robeco.
Oh, well, that's actually quite a good idea, because we can also then travel the world and talk about the various regions with him, because they're all over the place. And I think it's cool. We can talk some, AI, some robo-advice, some quants, and of course talk about him. So, let's talk to him and see, because that's a segment we haven't looked at a lot at yet.
Okay, I'm going to call him and I'm going to invite him for the podcast. Yeah?
Let's bookmark.
See you later.
Brian. Have a good one.
Bye. Welcome, Mark. What makes this a perfect Saturday morning soundtrack for you?
Yeah, it's one of the many perfect Saturday morning soundtracks I have. I have a very diverse music taste, and I just picked this one because it's nice and easy. It's actually Korean pianist Jerimu, who's actually great, and a German DJ who remixed this song. It gives you a great feeling Saturday morning. I'm actually not very lazy Saturday morning. I do lots of sports, and kind of running with this music in my ears is for me a perfect Saturday morning.
Okay. Looking back on the week, what news caught your particular attention?
Yeah, it's. I hate to do this, but I stay very close to my the industry I'm active in, the asset management industry. The biggest asset manager in the world, BlackRock, their CEO, Larry Fink, published his annual letter to CEOs. He does an annual letter where he writes to the CEOs of big companies in the world. And it's for the first time all about sustainability. And you might know that BlackRock has it on their many climate activists protested against BlackRock's lack of sustainability in their investments. And they make a big U-turn now. Everything is in this letter from beginning to end is about sustainability. And
in the letter, because I cannot imagine that he's going to turn back all of his investments in existing companies.
He's making quite bold statements and saying that he will make big changes in their investments. And from my company is one of the leading asset managers in this space. And it's actually great to see that they are kind of joining the crowd, because in our industry, everybody's moving in that direction. But we also know that it will take a bit of time. We've been doing this for more than 20 years, and they're starting to do it now.
Well, I'm delighted to see that the big companies are reading the zeitgeist as well. But we'll come back to that.
We'll come back to sustainability quite a while, I guess.
Good.
Right, Connie?
Yes, absolutely. Mark de Riele has been active in the asset management industry across the globe for over 20 years. He served in various senior executive roles based out of Amsterdam, Jakarta, Hong Kong and London. He covered asset management markets in Asia Pacific, Europe and Latin America. And today he's the head of global marketing at Robeco. His experience in business development, marketing, corporate development and strategy has been instrumental in delivering excellence to his clients. He held board positions at various asset management entities across Asia Pacific and Europe. So yes, welcome Mark. We're going to talk strategy, we're going to talk international, and we're going to talk excellence.
Okay, Mark, to just jump in immediately. What are the dots that connect your work at all three financials where you work for? Fortis, BNP Paribas and Robeco. Or to be very American, what makes you tick work-wise?
It's the diversity and the international business we operate in. It's truly global. And as Connie well mentioned, I've lived in a couple of places, different parts of the world, and making different cultures work together, operating in different countries with different aspects, different regulations. That excites me every day.
Well, fintech and asset management, when we talk fintech, people immediately make the jump to sort of retail banking. But I think that there is a hell of a lot more interesting and fascinating stuff happening in the fintech space with new technologies in the sort of more complex worlds as well of asset management, investments, etc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through a few of those technologies and see, what your take on that is in your particular industry. And both RBC in Canada and Deutsche Bank published some excellent papers at the beginning of the year with 2025, 2030 outlooks on the bigger picture around technology and the possible impact in our lives. So let's start with the first one. Quantum anything. So we're going to computing power, analyzing power market share. What will be the impact of this quantum anything be on the investment industry? Size, speed, quantum.
Our industry has been impacted already by this development for quite a few years and will continue to be impacted. It's first of all, it's analyzing data. Data is key to our business when we make investment decisions. And every time it gets easier and faster to analyze those data, but the supply of data increases as well. And that's not only in when we make investment decisions, but also the data we get on our clients. Because more and more our clients interact through digital with us, online with us, and analyzing that data and using that data and servicing our clients better becomes important every year. And that's been going on for a decade now, and will continue to further develop over the coming decades.
And which part of the technology will help you most in that? Will it be something like AI, sort of the deep AI, or will it also be something that has some moral equivalent to it, or will it be the speed of light? Because very fast lines are very important if you're trading. What element of technology will probably impact it most to you?
AI is a hot topic in the asset management industry, and there are many developments in that space, but it's still being tested in many places. You have developments where news is analyzed, news flows globally is analyzed on particular companies and interpreted by artificial intelligence methods. We look at those, we use those, but we use it as one element in making our investment decisions. It is on the other end, the speed element you mentioned, that is, I think, more long-term impact that has been happening and will continue to make our lives and our business faster every year, and that increases demand for people working in our business and our industry every year as well.
So moving from sort of the back office and the quant department to sort of more the front office, two things, the agility imperative, so you have to react faster to change. Now, I think it's very difficult to very quickly react to change when your business is in long-term investments, unless you're a day trader, that is a tough one. But if you look at technology, agility and developments, think robos, think advice. If you go to the customer side of the business, and reacting to change there, do you think bots will take over your advice role? Do you think it will still be a people industry? Where do you see that agility in dealing with the customer happening?
It will always be a people's business, but bots will increasingly help our business and make our lives easier. I think that's the big summary in the big picture.
Yeah. So where the bot and where the person?
The person is always there as a final check, and a final check to figure out and to make sure that what we're doing still fits our clients' needs on the front end, but also fits the markets that we invest in and the market decisions that we make. And why I'm saying, and bots can be very intelligent and can go quite far in making those decisions, but we also have an environment and a business and a market that changes every day. The variables change every day, and you need a person in the end to double check whether those variables are still in line with the variables that the bots use to take those decisions.
Yeah. And then finally, a third trend that both those companies spoke about is escalating uncertainties. And in all fairness, as a historian, I'm always a bit sort of peculiar about it, because I think we have always lived with uncertainties. And if we think they're now bigger than 100 years ago, well, go and read your history is always my lesson. But anyway, escalating uncertainties, scenario thinking can help. You spoke about BlackRock want to go sustainable. So let's leap forward. Oil prices are going to drop as a result of more sustainable resources available. Would that then create instability in the big oil markets like Russia, Venezuela, Saudi Arabia? I mean, are those things that are on the menu? Are those things that you think about if you think really long term?
This is our everyday business. I'm very much with you, Connie. This is nothing new. This uncertainties have always been there, and uncertainties or risks in the investment management business are the main variable we look at and we analyze every day, and that will never change. So thinking about what will happen to oil price and how it will be impacted by sustainable developments, that is what our analysts and our fund managers and our people have to do every time to make sure that the investment decisions we take
and also as far forward as that.
Sorry?
And also as far forward as that. They really take a long-term view as well.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
You can only do that if you take a long-term view. We are in an industry which is long-term. We in general manage money which people invest with us for their pensions, for their long-term savings. And you can only do that if you take a long-term view.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, let's go a little bit further on sustainability. And first, let's get it here into the studio first, and then we'll move out further. So, what have you changed yourself in your family's life, to be more sustainable?
There's an electric car in front of the door, which I bought like 3 months ago.
Okay.
Full electric, an amazing experience to drive electric for the first time. But it's also that has been going on for quite a few years. We separate our garbage. We're actually moving to a new place. We're renovating a new place, which is a lot of it's being done in a very sustainable way.
Do you have teenagers?
I do.
It's very hard to cut showering times, isn't it?
To cut?
Cut showering times. Cut the water in the bathroom. That's a challenge.
I'm actually amazed how hot of a topic this has become for teenagers. It is not. I myself, when I was a teenager long ago, when my parents started to talk to me about dimming the lights or showering shorter, I was, oh, Mom, come on. And I kind of you go against them and you showered longer, you kept the lights on. This generation is different.
There's no debate.
They are actually ahead of us. That's might have been Greta Thunberg who set the scene for them, but all of a sudden they got it.
Yeah,
and they get a better understanding and
they don't do it.
Driven.
They don't do it, but they at least got the concept right. Hey,
at least it's in their heads, and they might not always do it. But I'm actually quite impressed by how fast it goes with them, and they're overtaking our let's say our generation.
Yeah.
By the way, you're asking the question, Brian. But what have you changed in your life?
Well, I swallowed my whole ego, and I'm driving just through the week. I'm driving a Ford Fiesta, so I mean.
But is it electric?
Well, that's his contribution.
No, but it has
society.
less than 100 horsepower, and they have 3 cylinders. So I think I'm pretty.
You can do a bit more,
sustainable.
Brian.
So much for Brian. Maybe better carry on with the discussion.
All right. Hey, Mark. So as a global CMO, right, on Robeco, so the whole sustainability. I mean, we're looking at the industry, and most of the financials we work with, they all have sustainability now. Suddenly, in their vision and purpose, etc. So, how do you make sure that it's more than a marketing slogan?
And sorry, this is on top of my agenda every day. And we actually, in our industry, we call this greenwashing. It's people who finally get the message and they're kind of paint their websites green, and they call it sustainability. We know and we're convinced that with us it's for real because we've been doing it for more than 20 years. My big challenge is to convince the market and to show our clients that for us it's for real.
So how do you do that?
We call ourselves a content-based marketing operation. So everything we do and every statement we make, every advertisement we make, every event we organize, there's always a piece of content, a kind of white paper, a magazine, an article that showcases our knowledge and our experience in that field. And this is our business is not a I'm not shipping boxes. Our business is a people's business. I'm managing money, which is not tangible. It is tangible in the end in terms of the performance we deliver, but it's not a package I'm sending to a client and they can actually see it. So I need to show that our people and the way we take our decisions is done in a sustainable way. And that I show that by showing our content and showing particular the reporting element, so showing the impact investments had and how environmental, social or governance aspects are taken into account in these decision making.
Yeah, because I'm sure that institutional investors, they want to see a policy that literally where you demonstrate like, okay, we don't do anything with guns, but we do invest in companies that supply screws that go into guns. I mean, they're sort of that level. You really have to go that deep? And
Oh, definitely. So and this is a constant development. So we're constantly improving our reporting, and the reporting on sustainability, it contains a large piece of what we send to our clients, and it goes as deep as that. So it shows really how sustainable these investments are compared to, and we always compare to benchmarks in our industry. So we take how sustainable the benchmark is with a number, and we show how sustainable the client's investment is with a number on many aspects, on climate, on gender diversity, on all aspects that are important in what we call ESG, so environment, social, and governance aspects.
Hey, and I understand this, but you also are, of course, dealing with the day-to-day reality, which is return, right? For the investors. Do you think that the market is already big enough for a substantial move of investment into sustainable?
Definitely, and this is actually a question which is long gone. I think. Again, I was talking about the BlackRock letter. It is not a niche anymore. It is not a small part of our industry anymore. It's everywhere. And we are a firm believer that soon only companies that take sustainability seriously will be making a profit. You can see today that the price for renewable energy is almost at par with fossil fuel energy production. And that will continue to shift. So you will see that in the end, companies that really move in this direction are making the bigger profits and are the ones that you should invest in if you want long-term returns. So the great thing about this movement is that now the market force. So before it was often pushed by regulation. So government saying you need to be more you need to be greener, you need to be more sustainable, and now you see the market push or market pull actually.
So you crossed the tipping point, basically.
Exactly, and we're at the tipping point in this movement.
Okay, so leading on from sustainability, I think there's sustainability is all about reading the sign of the times and where the world's moving. And I recently wrote a blog about this, had advice to, in my sense, it's normally bankers, but like best advice 2020 is read the bloody zeitgeist. And through a clear lens, don't fool yourself that the world's different because you're in your little comfort zone of the well-to-do, and act on this. And one of the things that we see, and Brian and I speak about this a lot, is also the impatience of people with the more polluting forces of power and money, with normal people paying all the tax because we want to live in a nice country where the light goes on, where everybody has education. And the big corporations shy away from that because they have the money and the power to create structures to avoid that. And so it literally becomes a place where certain big corporates or certain people move into Moneyland. I'm sure you heard about the book from Oliver Burrow. And so what is your take on that? Do you think that is just short-term irritation? Or do you think it is a persistent move away from... It's very cool if you know how to stash your money away, which we saw in the 80s. And now, you're very not cool if you do that. Where do you sit? It's a personal question, Mark.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a very positive person, so I think it's a questionable thing. You should question this. I didn't read Moneyland, but I read the extract, and I think I know what it's about. It's about avoiding tax. It's actually about greed.
It's about living anywhere and contributing nowhere.
And that is also not new. 30, 40 years ago, the Dutch people drove to Luxembourg with a pile of cash and put it on their bank in Luxembourg because there was a banking secrecy.
I know, but where do you stand?
Switzerland.
What's your take on this? Do you think...
Let me go there. So in Europe, this has changed already a bit. Governments become more and more strict on this. Banks are more and more chased on it. I think this is part of the sustainability movement. As I mentioned, this is the G in ESG. This is governance.
Yeah.
So markets also demand from corporates that they take these ethics seriously and that they just don't move around money just to get to improve profits, but they do it in an ethical way, in a good way.
And do you know that last year in August, all these big companies in America signed his from shareholder to stakeholder sort of pledge.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see this when you speak to, or when you as a bigger consortium speak to companies, that they really take this seriously and that they take it on board? Or do you think it was very much also a marketing first message?
No, we very much see companies taking this on board. And the thing is that as an investor these days, we are a lot more active in shareholders meetings, in engaging with companies on all kinds of aspects of their company. And it's definitely not only anymore about profits and improving profits. We want companies, if we invest in them, to take all these elements seriously, and we make a point about it. And this is for us a very important element where you can do this in two ways. You can exclude companies that you don't like because they don't take all these elements seriously. We rather engage. So if they're really bad, we exclude them. We don't invest in them. But we rather be very, for the companies that we still think we have a chance of making a change. We go to shareholders meetings and we're very active in making our voice heard and push them to change. And
there are difficult dilemmas. You cannot change everything overnight.
Exactly. No. So that's the, we call that the transition risk, which we're very much, that's again the analyzing we do about how these changes will impact and how they will impact long term.
Thank you.
Hey, Mark. So one topic from your industry, which I would like to discuss, and then we're going to talk about you more. So, but we live in a world of increasingly platform banking, right? So that's the interconnected services. Where do you see investment services sitting there?
As I mentioned at the beginning, investment services is a lot more global business already. Moving money around the world, investing around the world has been very, very easy, which also means that for us serving clients all over the world has become part of our daily business. So it is it's a very competitive industry. It's a very open industry. It's very transparent in terms of the performance that we deliver. So again, this is a change that has already been taking and been impacting our industry for many years and will continue to impact.
Yeah, and you're doing the play, of course, for years already also, right?
But it doesn't mean that we're sitting back and saying, okay, we're doing this already. We know that this is, and that's what I liked about the zeitgeist made earlier. This is what we need to do every year and every time, is think about where this is moving and how this is developing.
So on the investment services, will it be faceless but hyper-personalized service behind the bot, or will it become more people-driven as a result of too much tech and too little confidence of the public?
It's we as a firm, we don't do a lot of direct retail globally, but we work very closely with what we call wholesale distributors who have all this retail contact. So we talk a lot to them about these kind of developments, and we try to facilitate them in serving their clients. It's a bit of a lame answer, but I think we need a balance between the two. You're absolutely right. People are, and when we talk to those distributors, people are asking for this personal contact, and they're actually screaming for a bit more personal contact with an advisor that actually can talk to them. But we also live in a world where we look for efficiencies and we're moving fast. So we need to implement those digital tools in a way that it accommodates these advisors, the personal contact, that can still happen. And I think at some stage we're kind of going too much one way and pushing too many of our clients to full digital. where we need to take a bit of a step back and add some personal contact there.
Brilliant bridge here, Mark, because consumers as well, who were all saving guinea pigs, particularly in the Netherlands, we're in a zero interest situation. So no doubt that will drive more people into investing, I think. So let's explore some alternative investment opportunities. What do you personally, I'm asking you, what do you make about cryptocurrencies? Because I love that it started out as a libertarian principle that wasn't government control, but of course it quickly turned into a magnet for speculation with all the supporting rough ride of the valuations. So do you think it's a fun gamble instrument, or do you think it will have a serious role in the future? Or did you put some Bitcoins away? I put Bitcoin away for my son just for fun.
I did put some Bitcoin away myself as well, but I can tell you it's, in my view, it's pure speculation, it's pure gambling today. I don't dislike gambling, so let's give it a try.
Yeah.
But if you look at it from a broader perspective, there are two elements. One, the whole blockchain technology is very interesting, and our industry looks at that very closely to see how we can use that technology to better keep track of movement of information or money. Then the other element, the cryptocurrencies, the whole idea about it, personally, I think it's great, because if you think about it, all the different currencies we use all over the world, it's one big inefficiency. Why do we have to exchange currencies if we go to another country? I'm a big fan of the euro. I think that's a great progress we're making. So think about it. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when you traveled 1,000 kilometers in Europe, you had to exchange currencies 5 times if you were unlucky. Why? Why are we doing that?
And we're screwed 5 times, by the way.
Exactly. So the euro is to that extent a great thing, and if we would in the end move to one cryptocurrency that replaces all that
could be a bit dangerous, one currency.
No, I think
because they also represent economic power.
Yeah, but if and this is a utopia, because this is going to be long from now, but if we have good agreements between governments about this, and if we agree on accepting that currency as a main currency for the rest of the world, then we will make big progress.
Yeah.
But getting all those governments together and agreeing on that, I think that's a long way from where we are now.
Yeah, and unfortunately, mining crypto is one of the most polluting things one can do. It is incredibly energy intensive, and it's still very silly. So we need to work on the technology.
Yeah.
Mark, I'm going to take you to Hong Kong. So I know that you lived in Asia, in Jakarta and in Hong Kong. And one thing that, that was remarkable was that you have finished 2 Ironmans, right? And you start training for this one when you lived in Hong Kong. Now, I can tell you, Hong Kong is pretty hot and humid. So why on earth did you get the idea there to start training for triathlons?
All my life I've been a big sports fan, and I'm not very good in sport, but I love to watch it and I love to practice it sometimes. It was probably 12, 13 years ago when indeed I was living in Hong Kong, and I realized that I wasn't very fit and I wasn't very healthy. When I was young, I was a swimmer. I played water polo. I'm Dutch. I love to bike. And somebody introduced me to triathlon. I said, oh, that's at least 2 of the sports that I at least am some familiarity with. And the great thing about this is that you can start this with very short distances. So you do what they call sprint distance, which takes you like 45 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes, and you can already compete in a race. So let's give that a try, start small, and then get it bigger. And what I realized over time, and this amazes me, how much a human body can actually bear in these kind of things. As long as you just take it slowly and build it up very briefly with small steps and do it in a responsible way. So I got a coach there who helped me say, don't do too much, just do small steps. And in the end, very proud that in the end I finished the full Ironman race twice. And I'm going to do more. I'm still doing it every day. And I will do more Ironmans the rest of my life.
Okay, for our listeners, an Ironman, maybe not everybody knows, but Ironman is you swim 4 kilometers, you bike 180 kilometers, yes, and then after that you do a full marathon, and that all in one. Yeah. So, by the way, that's an Ironman. So
Hats off.
we are looking at a totally fit guy here across the coffee table.
Yes, still today I can give testament to that. He looks pretty fit.
Thank you, Colin.
Yes, Brian. You might not like this, but he looks incredibly fit.
That's good.
But you're getting there. We'll
I'm
work
getting
on
there.
it.
So so probably I'll see you on the track. Hopefully somewhere.
You're trying as well, I heard.
Yeah, but I'm more in the amateur division. Yeah.
So finally, I'm impressed. Ironman. I didn't know it was that bad. Finally, Mark, what is the technology you are most excited about in your daily life? I, for one, sort of could not live anymore without the efficiency of navigation. I marvel in the pleasures of Spotify and Sonos every day. What is the technology that most sort of brought joy to your life?
It's a tough question because it's every day you're confronted with new technology that makes our lives easier, more fun, more efficient. Like I said, I bought this new electric car, which is full of new technology and almost drives me without any help to Naarden, where we are now. I love my new AirPods. I love many of the things we do in daily life. So it's hard to pick one. I'm still most intrigued about, and this is a broader technology thing. What I'm still most intrigued about is in our business is that how much more information every day we get from our customers. We are, at my firm, Robico, we are in a B2B environment. And we always thought that in this B2B environment, internet or digital interaction would not be that important. But it is. And increasingly, we know more and more about our clients. Every day we see them do stuff online. And using that information and implementing that information, that is for me exciting from a technology point of view, but also from a behavioral point of view, because we see more and more, and again, in this B2B environment, we weren't sure that this would happen, but it is happening. We see more and more clients expecting us to use that information. And some clients, some of our more conservative people are saying, oh, this is privacy, you cannot use that, you should be very careful with using that information. But particularly if you go to the US, clients are actually disappointed if you don't do your homework and haven't kind of analyzed on what information they downloaded from us, what kind of information they've requested from us, and you should use that in your servicing. If you don't, you will be out of business soon.
Yeah, hey Mark.
And rightly so.
Unfortunately, we're at the end of the time, so we could talk for hours. If you are curious which music weekend favorites Mark brought with him, check out www.fintechcappuccino.com.
Mark, thank you for joining us here at the kitchen table in the Fintech Cappuccino podcast. And thank you for listening to Fintech Cappuccino. Don't want to miss another cup? Subscribe to our podcast via Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you like to listen to your podcasts. And please give us a like, a review, so many more Fintech Cappuccino lovers can find us.
Please join us again next month, Saturday morning at 9. We'll have the coffee ready just the way you like it.
Have a good weekend.
I wanna take you somewhere, you know I care, but it's so cold and I don't know where. I brought you daffodils on a pretty string, but they won't flower like they did last spring.